Hi, friend. Welcome to today's program. I recently had the privilege of having Joe Scheidler, the godfather of pro-life activism, here in our studio. I had multiple hours in front of the camera with him, bantering, talking, sharing experiences, remembering old times together. And in today's episode, we look at Protestants and Catholics working together. Over the years, I've heard many good people say, we're going to try and get theological unity. It's just not possible. It's not. But what is possible is unity of purpose in a given fight. Think of Corrie ten Boom, the author of The Hiding Place, the woman in Holland whose family ended up going to prison because they were hiding Jews. In prison, she was with Christians from all denominational backgrounds who were there for opposing the Nazis, helping the Jews, whatever. They had a unity of purpose, standing for justice, standing for truth, standing for innocent life, even though they didn't have total unity on all theological issues regarding Christianity. That's what we need today if we're going to rescue this republic from darkness. Enjoy the interview. What was it like for you to all of a sudden to come from what was predominantly a Roman Catholic movement to suddenly, this influx of wild-eyed
Well, I found it to be just life-enhancing to me. I had never known. So, I'd grown up in northern Indiana, which was not predominantly Catholic, but we hadn't had a whole lot to do with our buddies of the other faiths in the religious area. We went to school together, had proms together and all that, but we didn't talk religion much. But when we got into the pro-life movement, and we were all doing the same thing and had the same motivation and the respect for life, and we started singing each other's songs, which mostly the Protestant songs and non-Catholic songs. It was a great joy for me. I loved it, and I could see how much we had in common, and how great you guys were. It was very, but still, we Catholics hung together pretty much, and knew we were right, and thought we will convert these people eventually. And
did.
That was always in our mind, and many came over. It's amazing how many.
Paul Schenck left being an Episcopal priest and became a Roman Catholic, converted to Catholicism, became a Roman Catholic priest.
Right.
There's a fellow who I won't name out in the Northwest Oregon, or you know who it is, but he actually wrote an article about 3 years ago, because I became Catholic, and
Yes.
You had a profound impact on me. And he wrote an article saying, to Protestants, saying we must no longer work in the pro-life arena with any Catholics. Because if Protestants hang out with Catholics too much, we've seen too many of them convert to Catholicism. And then he listed Paul Schenck and me and a couple others and said, see, look at these. These were great Protestant leaders, and now look at them.
That's true. It's true. It would be interesting just to make a list of the Protestant and many of the ministers.
Mind-boggling. Jerry
Horn, Andy Schulberg, going down the line, that are now practicing Catholics. And
a lot. It really was a lot. And we look back and laugh now. And it was hard for me. It was so much stress for me. You and I had an experience with the Pope. Why don't you tell it from your perspective?
Well, from my perspective, we were having a meeting with the Pope, and everybody at the meeting was Catholic except Randy Terry, and had been invited.
And they let me speak at the Vatican.
He spoke at the Vatican, got in line to go give the Pope a gift or something. I forget what you. But you went ahead of me. You were right ahead of me.
We were standing in line together
to meet Pope John Paul. And lo and behold, you give him something and he starts laughing. And then it's my turn, because they kept us going. So there's a picture taken of me handing the Pope a book, and the Pope laughing and you going away laughing. And you don't have that picture. You have
No,
the one
I want.
here. So I'll send it to you.
All
It's on
right.
my wall.
You want to know what I said?
I want to know. I've often wondered what went on right before I met the Pope.
I said to him, "Would you please come to New York and get arrested with us?"
You did?
Yes.
That was it.
And he chuckled, and then I made a further joke about it.
Yeah.
And I said, "No, think of how powerful it would be if the Pope was in jail with us." And he laughed and threw his head back, and the cardinal that was standing with him laughed, and
well, now the mystery is solved, because that picture hangs right next to my phone, and every time I look at it, I think, what did Randy say to get the Pope to laugh? Because he was a great man.
he was later on in that meeting. He laid his hands on me. It was
Yes,
such a privilege to meet him. So we were at me, you, and Steve Wood. There's another one, a
Steve
Presbyterian
Wood,
minister who converts to Catholicism. I'm staying with Steve, and totally confused because he was such a great preacher, very Orthodox Presbyterian. Becomes Catholic. I'm like, what is going on here? And we then go to dinner, and it's me and you, Steve, and a bunch of others. And there you were on me about the sacrament of confession. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
You were,
I remember that being together there.
yeah, and
I
you were
remember
saying,
that.
you guys were trying to convince me what a great blessing it was. The sacrament of confession was just such a wonderful blessing. And you said, Randall, you were getting more and more uncomfortable, and you finally got up and left. And so, the funny thing is, I actually went to St. Peter's in the next day or two while we were all there, and went to a priest, one of those priests in the Vatican, and he wouldn't hear my confession. I was like, what?
Everybody's telling me to go to confession. One step first. Come into the church.